Welcome back in the Ashy way. Now we're going to go through the part 2, which is about the fundamentals. It's probably the part that I like the most. So fundamentals is basically 4 words. It's legacy, which is the overarching concept of the Ashy way, and then you have play, connect, and develop. We'll go through all those points so I can explain exactly what it entails, and you'll understand how, again, the mission that we talked about in the first video about person first, a footballer, how it intermingled, and it will make a lot of sense to you actually. The first word and the most important is play. Play anywhere, anytime, anyhow. This is the federation motto. So at some point, and you can say everything that you want about what the federation does, right or wrong, you have to back your federation and you have to be united behind it. And let's say, all right, they make mistakes, we don't care. Let's just get behind and then just see what happens. So play. If you imagine you enter the club as a player, as a coach, as an administrator, as a volunteer, as a parent, you start with play. We put you on the pitch and you go and play. And it can be in the simple way with just 1 ball, 2 bags to make the goals, and that kind of thing. It's very, very important that we start with play. Participation is the core of our club. So if anyone at some point says we can't take all the kids who wants to play, something is going wrong. So it's very important, again, put this in your mind. If participation doesn't happen anymore, that means your club is in big trouble. And it always has to be the first and most important. Then again, it's about simplicity. Look at the picture, it's just playing with your friends, with nothing. It's just playing with friends of friends, and that is exactly that spirit, what remains of our childhood memories that we're trying to find here in the Ashy way. And the play concept is very important for that. So simple play, the purest form is a play in the garden. Play brings joy. So we need to give the opportunity to the kids to play, like we enjoyed playing it when we were kids, but different sports, it can be different sports. So it brings joy. It's very, very important that we keep enjoyment central to what we want to do, is central to our football. It is also the highest form of learning, like Einstein said. So in the way we're gonna imagine how we want to play football, how we want to teach football, we're always gonna have play in the middle of our sessions, in the middle of our games. It's gonna be very, very important, very, very important. And then in the end, play is what creates memorable successes. If you remember the great clubs, the great teams, the great players, the great games that you've seen, all of them involve a certain form of play. And that's exactly what we need to get here. So the first point, and because it's the first, it's one of the most important, but play is very, very, very important. The first step of the football experience. We are able to make the kids play, so what should we do to get better? So we're gonna connect. Connect is the second part of the football experience. It's about culture, it's about falling in love with the game. Because if you don't like what you do, you're never gonna get good at it. And you'll see people thinking, oh, I have to improve my skills right now, I have to do this, and this. But if you don't like what you're doing, you're not gonna improve at it. So connection is another very important step after play. It's making people fall in love with the game at every age. It's connecting with the ball when we're very young, connecting with the game as we get older, and then with the people in the game, because all the coaches, the admin, at some point it's going to be you. And the biggest challenges I think that we have at Ashburton, and especially in our community, is that our football culture is not very strong, and in Australia it is the same as well. So we need to improve and enhance that culture, need to bring football to people's house. And if we do that, this is going to give us a better football experience. And I give you the example of France. So in France, They have created all those concrete football pitches. And because at that moment I was president of a club and I was complaining that this money didn't come to my club because I wanted to pay the coaches and that kind of thing. And now I understand why they did it. They did it because they wanted people to get back on the street. And we won the World Cup because of it. And we developed so many players that have this uniqueness. So I'm not saying we need to build every single pitches in around Ashburton, little pitches, but it's the spirit of what I want to say. It's okay, if we can bring soccer culture to our community, our football will get better. And only then you can develop. If you don't play, if you don't connect with the game, nothing will happen. It's about becoming the best you can be. It's about discovering what you can do, most of all, and having the confidence to start doing things. It's for all abilities, all backgrounds, all motivations, and it's valid for all members, administrators, coaches, players, referees. It's for all the football family. And I want to draw your attention to one other very, very specific point. It's nobody left behind, and we need everyone. In the past, you would have probably emphasized on the best players, and that's natural because you see talent and you want to nurture that talent. And then sometimes you forget little Johnny, who is struggling a little bit more than the others, and you think, oh, he's going to catch up or not. So it's not the spirit of the Ashy way. The spirit of the Ashy way is nobody should be left behind. So you have to give the same attention to all the players and more to the players who need you the most. Because again, we have a small community of football. Like I said, the culture is not very big at the moment, so we need everyone. We need the bad players, we need the good players, we need the bad coaches, we need the good coaches. So we need everyone who wants to be involved. And the challenge is in keeping people in the game. If we keep people in the game, we'll be more and more and more in the future, and we're going to be able to do a lot of other things. And we have to do it for as long as possible. Playing at school, playing at home, and even if players are leaving our club and going to other clubs, it's fine, as long as they stay in the game. And the final point, and like we said, is the overarching concept. It's the legacy. It's what are we going to leave behind? And it goes beyond the game. So we have to sustain the club for future generations. So every time when you come in the club, you have to think, all right, what am I going to leave behind? How am I going to be remembered? I ask that question to everyone who's coming at the club, all the new coaches. How do you want to be remembered? And then you start that process of thinking, all right, that goes a little bit beyond myself. That goes a little bit beyond football. This club is thinking about me, is thinking about the people, really. So the legacy is why we do things every day. We have to recognize that a lot of people were here before us. A lot of people, and they are all of those guys are here on the board actually, just in front of me. Those guys have done an amazing job before. Some of them are still at the club, but you have to think, all right, I'm going to stay 1 year, few months, 2 days at the club. So how I'm going to impact the club? How do I want to be remembered at the club? And it's a process that you have to go through all the time. You must pay respect to past heroes, and as well, you need to prepare yourself to pass the ball to someone else, because you're not going to stay here all your life, and you have to put fresh blood in the club all the time. So from day one, when you arrive, what is it that I'm going to leave behind, and who's going to take my spot after me? And it can be a player, and it can be in 10 years, this player is going to be a coach. So that's a good example. And again, thinking about legacy, it's a large topic. I'm so passionate about it. But think about a little booklet, and in this little booklet, you have all the history of Ashburton, and then at some point, the pages are blank. So those pages needs to be filled. So they're gonna be filled by you. You have to continue the legacy. You have to do good things for the club. But you also have to remember that it's not necessarily gonna happen in your time. So you have to be patient. And yeah, that's the motto of the Ashy way. Is this is your time, this is your moment. So be a good ancestor, impact football in a good way, and do all the common sense, all the things that you want to do that will make and sustain the club for future generations. So on the screen you'll see this is a summary of everything. So you have the legacy, you have the play, connect and develop. This is the football experience. So this is exactly what we want to provide at the club. It is challenging, it is very, very hard, but it gives us a framework and it gives us a North Star to know, all right, now this is what we want to do and these are the fundamentals of the Ashy way.